Mario Cruz is a Portuguese photojournalist.
And he heard stories about missing children. Later, he went back with his own resources to follow the trail of these missing boys. And he found them in Senegal, in Islamic schools called daaras, where a teacher would claim that he's educating these children, but instead, these kids are sent out on the street to beg for 8 hours a day. If they don't reach certain quotas, they're frequently beaten. In some cases, parents just gave their children over because they believed that they'd have a better life, they'd be educated and have a better life. In other cases, people have purchased children from their parents or just abducted children and delivered them to these mahouds. In some cases, these children have to be chained because when they first arrive, they want to run away. Children sleeping, dozens, right cheek to jowl, all on the floor. They have no access to medical care or real education, and they're living like slaves in the modern world. But in many cases, these children were trafficked and they may not even know where they came from or how to get home. When they escape from the Dara, they have nowhere to go but onto the streets. Not all of the Daras in Senegal carry on these abusive practices. These are faux schools. Mario was appalled to discover this, and he got access in a way that very, very difficult to do.
One Senegalese journalist tried to take photographs inside some of these places, and he took a photo with a cell phone showing precisely a group of children sleeping in a very bad conditions. But he decided to publish that photograph in a Senegalese newspaper with his name. So what happened was several men went to his house and cut off his hands. I've met an American producer that was trying to do a documentary, and he gave me a very good tip. So I went there with my fixer. My fixer was Capitan was his name. There, when we entered this false Koranic school, all we could hear was children crying and screaming. And after 1 minute there, the Marabu, the false Koranic teacher, saw us. So we realized that we could be in trouble. And he immediately asked us to go outside. And when we are going outside, we see one Talibé chained in our right side. So when we are outside now, I talked with Capi and I said, okay, we need to go back. We decided to wait for the lunchtime because the Marabus, the teachers, they always go out to lunch outside the schools. So I jumped into the school, and I took a series of photos. You can see a Talibes with a chain in their ankles. The children was very scary with my presence. I jumped the wall again to go outside. Capi was waiting for me. That I reached the taxi, and they say, we can get out of the city. Everyone knows that you're already here. Took about 7 to 8 hours to reach Dakar. I was in the car trying to make copies of the photo itself, to flash drives, to hidden SD cards, everywhere I could in the car, in myself. And then when we reached Dakar, I just went to my laptop and sent the pictures to my email to be saved and to the people that I knew. And because I knew the importance of that photo. My main goal since the start of the project was to create the book, the physical evidence. Very difficult to publish this kind of work.
In order to publish the book, we need to find 200 or 300 people who will buy it in advance, maybe even at a premium price, maybe a signed book, maybe with a print. And this allows us to raise the money to publish a book that otherwise wouldn't be published.
We did a crowdfunding campaign together, and it was very, very difficult. We reached the goal at the end, so it was perfect. Many NGOs throughout the years, they did many reports about the Talibés. As you can see, Human Rights Watch did many reports about the situation, and what was missing was precisely the evidence. If you go to Senegal, you can see the children in the streets. You can see the bruises on their bodies. You can see that something is wrong, but you couldn't prove that the abuses were made inside those schools. So to go inside these forbidden places and come back alive and with the proof and with the evidence, it was a game changer. After my work, they had the evidence. They could go to the police and say, you know, this is what's happening. This is the reality.
The president of Senegal was so embarrassed by the story that he ordered the registration of every Islamic school in the country. And he sent police out on the street to pick up people begging. And in the month following his order, 3,500 children were removed from the street, either sent home if their homes could be found or put into shelters.
The book itself is the evidence, okay? World Press Photo it's an award. You can talk about the award. The award gives a lot of attention, and that's it. The physical evidence stays with you forever. So the book itself is the evidence, and that evidence right now, it's in every Senegalese school, in every Guinean school. Besides that, the book was also sent to African Union, European Parliament.
Mario later went on to testify to the European Union about this practice, and the European Union has made a commitment to investigate.
What should be a school is in fact sometimes a place of torture. What should be an education system is often a system of exploitation. During my time in Senegal, I saw children being whipped and beaten in front of me. I saw the youngest Talibes chained by their ankles. Though Senegal adopted a law in 2005 prohibiting forced begging and trafficking, only a handful of cases have been prosecuted. According to a Human Rights Watch report, the number of the Talibes is increasing. There are more than 30,000 boys begging in the Dakar region alone. One of the most memorable conversations I had with a Talibé was with Amadou in Saint-Louis. He said to me, "I'm tired of being beaten. Even when I have the money, I get beaten. I know stories about dead Talibs, but I'm not afraid of death anymore." He was 15, but his eyes and hands were the eyes and hands of an old man.
Back then in Parliament, they were just asking, how is this possible? This problem was happening with just one child. It was already a problem. How can this happen with 50,000 children? So what I asked in the European Parliament was that now that you have the evidence, now that you see what you saw, I just asked you to do something. If you don't do something, you are responsible. They give sanctions to the Senegalese government, and they put pressure on African Union. The European Commission sends funds every year to Senegal to improve their educational conditions. And that helped a lot to close many of those false Koranic schools.
Mario participated in every single part of the production of the book, including the design.
We published the work, uncensored. And then after the book is out, we start to promote the issue. We communicate with governments, we communicate with organizations that work in the direction of make changes. I made a decision for myself that I would never ever censor work, or I would never care if this work could be a successful sale. It was important to show work that is neglected, abandoned, and I think we had very successful 11 years with 35 titles. But at the end it's about photography and evidence. So I combined both of them, and it became FotoEvidence.
Does photography change the world? Images alone will not change the world. Images move people to action, and people change the world.